On day 14, the winding road through the mountains took us from Nelson to Westport. The countryside was beautiful, and I wished for a driver so I could concentrate on capturing video of the drive. I stopped to take a picture of the Buller Gorge Swinging Bridge, the longest in the country. As I drove along, I remember being asked my first impressions of New Zealand. What came to my mind was the word green. I've heard that Ireland is green. In that case, Ireland must look something like New Zealand. However, I have been told that in the heat of summer, it won't look quite as green as it does now. For the night, I once again made my way to the NZMCA Park for the night. NZMCA stands for New Zealand Motor Caravan Association. I joined while still back in the United States. Each park is gated, with members having the combination needed to enter. The cost per night is $5, or the equivalent of US $3. There are no amenities. It is just a safe and legal place to park for the night. This one was in walking distance of the ocean. I do love the ocean and enjoyed walking beside it. It was fairly windy, making for some good rolling waves. The lovely bird in, I think, the tern family of birds, though I could not find it on the internet, was calling out nearby. There were lovely seashells all around, so I had to pick up one as a remembrance. On the morning of day 15, I found an inviting cafe and sat down for a cup of coffee and a blueberry muffin. I was still getting acquainted with the coffee ordering lingo. If you order a long black, you get a cup of coffee with 2 shots of espresso and a little bit of water. If you order a short black, you get a cup with 2 shots of espresso with no water. If you order an Americano, you get 2 shots with a lot more water added, but still not as much water added as when you order an Americano in the United States. People in New Zealand, I have learned, don't fool around with their coffee. They like it strong. The drive from Westport to Fox Glacier was amazingly beautiful. I knew that at one point we would be traveling along the coast. Rounding a bend in the road, there it was, the ocean in all of its blue beauty. I stopped at an overlook and took some long looks, and some pictures, of course. New Zealand has a lot of mountains, which is one of the things that makes it so beautiful. Mountains mean winding roads and a lot of curves. It also means a lot of bridges. Most of the bridges I encountered in the north as well as in the south are one-lane bridges. There is a system of signs to let you know if you have the right-of-way to cross the bridge or if you must wait. Here's what the one-lane bridge crossing signs look like. The sign on the left, with a red arrow on the left, which is the side of the road you drive on in New Zealand, means you have to wait. The sign on the right shows you have the right-of-way to cross without waiting. Of course, you have to do so carefully. As you can see, it started raining on the way to Fox Glacier, and was raining when I arrived. On day 16, I woke up in the town of Fox Glacier to a disappointingly very cloudy and rainy day. However, how does the saying go? Every cloud has a silver lining. That was sure borne out today on day 16. Taking a break from video editing, I looked out of Nellie. There, painted on the cloud cover, presumably hiding the view of Mount Cook and Fox Glacier, was one of the most perfect rainbows I've ever seen. I grabbed my camera, stepped outside, and clicked. I was told about a hike I could take to get closer to Fox Glacier, but the road and trail was washed out. Still, I saw some pretty birds that I haven't yet identified. If you know what they are, please let me know in the comments below. I figured that on this trip to New Zealand, the closest I would ever come to seeing Mount Cook and the Fox Glacier would be this painting on the side of one of the homes I walked past. On day 17, I woke to a beautiful sunny blue sky day. Mount Cook stood brilliantly visible, reaching up to its 12,000 plus feet up into the sky above. In my mind, I had pictured seeing the glacier, and I do think a bit of it was visible. But I am thinking to get a good look at the glacier, one must hike up to the trail that is now closed, or take a helicopter. I was delightedly happy with what of it I could see, and contentedly headed off to my next destination in the Queenstown direction. The day did not disappoint. It was a brilliantly beautiful day. For miles and miles we followed the Haste River. I stopped to get a good video clip. We drove through beautiful forests. The walk to Thunder Creek Falls felt like walking through a primitive forest, which in New Zealand they call the bush. The falls were wonderful to watch and record. The day presented me with two problems, though. First, I seriously needed a driver. There was just too much that I missed that should have been in my video. Second, I needed at least an additional day to stop at all of the things that signs along the way said were worth stopping and sometimes hiking to see. The beauty continued as we reached and drove alongside Lake Wanaka, the fourth largest lake in the country. That night, I camped beside the equally beautiful Lake Hawea.